Hello students, today we are going to continue our first chapter of the paper first chemistry. It is the phase equilibrium. So in this chapter we are going to study now the three types of the equilibrium that can be exist in the different phases of the water or the solution of the water. Now let us consider this equilibrium. These are the true equilibrium, metastable equilibrium, unstable equilibrium and the non-equilibrium. So what are these conditions when this type of the equilibrium will exist? Let us consider the first state of equilibrium. It is the metastable equilibrium. So this true equilibrium and metastable equilibrium are quite related to each other. So when water it is cooled slowly or ice it is allowed to melt into the water, if we apply the heat or if we apply the temperature to the ice very slowly, then what happens? Ice will get converted into water at the equilibrium. So whatever heat is applied, it is utilized for the conversion of the ice molecules which are present in the compact structure into the liquid state. So as from the 5 degrees Celsius, minus 5 degrees Celsius, we know that the ice will exist as the minus temperature below 0 degrees Celsius. So from 0 degrees Celsius what happens? If we cool further the water will get converted into ice. Now if we start with the ice at nearly minus 5 degrees Celsius and if we applied the heat to the ice, so slowly it will get melts and get converted into the water at 0 degrees Celsius, nearly at 0 degrees Celsius. So what happens? Their equilibrium will exist between the ice and the water. So whatever heat is applied, it is utilized for the conversion of the ice molecules, solid molecules into the liquid state. So up to 0 degrees Celsius, when until and unless all the ice is get converted into water, there is no rise in the temperature is observed. So when all the amount of the ice is get converted into water or liquid at 0 degrees Celsius, then what happens? All the solid ice will get converted into liquid molecules. When all molecules become get in the liquid phase, then slowly temperature will get rises. So up to attaining the water or liquid state, there is no increase in temperature is observed at the 0 degrees Celsius. So this state of the equilibrium is also observed if we cool the water from the ice. So this such type of the equilibrium, it is called as the true equilibrium, and it is observed for conversion of ice to water as well as conversion of water to ice. Similar equilibrium is observed. So this is the example of the true equilibrium. Next is the metastable equilibrium. Now when we consider, all these processes are carried out at the constant pressure. So if we consider the conversion, if we cool the water again to 0 degrees Celsius, slowly up to 0 degrees Celsius, then what happens? The vapors which are present above this liquid water, they are in equilibrium with water. And at the 0 degrees Celsius what happens? There is equilibrium is established between the water vapors with the liquid water. So this is occurred at nearly 0 degrees Celsius. So this is the one directional equilibrium which is called as the metastable equilibrium, and this such type of the water is very cooled at 0 degrees Celsius which exists in equilibrium with its water vapor. So such type of the equilibrium, it is called as the metastable equilibrium, and it is occurs only in one direction when we cool the water at the 0 degree Celsius only. So there is no conversion of the vapor into there is this equilibrium, it exists only in one direction when water is cooled at the 0 degree Celsius. Then the third is the unstable equilibrium. So when we consider the sodium chloride solution in the water, if we add sodium chloride slowly to water, if NaCl it is added to H2O, this type of the solution, it will become saturated solution when all the sodium chloride is present in the dissolved form. If we add the excess of the sodium chloride compound to the water at the point where the saturation occurs, or the saturation point, just before that point there is equilibrium starts to establish between the dissolved form of the sodium chloride to the undissolved form of the sodium chloride. So this type of the equilibrium, it is called as the unstable equilibrium. Now at this equilibrium, what happens? The change between the concentration when the saturated solution is there and excess amount of the sodium chloride is going to add. So at this equilibrium, just above this equilibrium, what happens? The concentration does not rises. There is no much change in the concentration, and equilibrium will exist very slowly and very low concentration is observed. There is no much change in the concentration is observed. So such type of the state, it is called as the non-equilibrium. So we cannot distinguish this equilibrium. So the unstable equilibrium, it will happens only when between the dissolved sodium chloride in the and undissolved sodium chloride. So before that point, but after that point, what happens? Due to low concentration, there is no change in the concentration of the sodium chloride, and this state, it is called as the non-equilibrium state. So all these type of the equilibrium can be exist between the particular system only. Now let us consider some derivations. Next derivation for the molar free energy. Now we know that this molar free energy, which is also called as the chemical potential of the substance, or it is the available energy, this is extensive property for the substance. That means it is depending upon the number of moles of the substances present in the system. So quantity, it is dependent upon the quantity of the substance which is present in the system, while the intensive properties are those properties which does not depend upon the quantity of the substances which are present in the system. So this extensive property, it is very important in defining the phase rule and giving the different types of the behavior of the phase diagram. Now let us consider the derivation for this molar free energy. Now we know that this molar free energy, we can study the change in the molar free energy for the each component which is present in the system. So in order to study the change in the molar free energy, we have to consider some variables in the system. For example, temperature, pressure is there, concentration is there. So in this case, in order to study the change in the molar free energy, we have to keep constant some variables and we have to vary the other variables in the system. For example, we can consider that now this molar free energy, it is the extensive property, so it is dependent upon the number of moles of the substances. So G equals to, we can write this equation, phi into TPN. Here TPN is the temperature, pressure, N is the number of the moles of the substances which is given in the system, and G is the molar free energy, while phi is the function given for this equation. So this function It is given in the form of phi. Now let us consider 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and so many dash 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 number of the substances are present in the system. So we can consider that N1, N2, N3, N4, these are the number of moles for the corresponding substances 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So their moles for the substances, these substances are N1, N2, N3. Now we can write the total molar free energy for this type of the system that contain 1, 2, 3, 4 types of the substances and their corresponding moles are N1, N2, N3, etc. So then the total free energy becomes G equals to phi into Tp N1, N2 dash 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 Ni. So depending upon the number of the substances, we can write here N1, N2, Ni. These are the moles of the substances 1, 2, 3 and I in the system, and T and P are the temperature and the pressure. Now in order to calculate the change in the molar free energy, we have to keep some variables constant while we can change the other variables of the system. Now let us consider this equation, change in the free energy, that is dG. For this we have to take the derivation for this equation. So this is our first equation, total mole free energy, and we are going to take the derivative or derivation for this equation in order to calculate the change in molar free energy. So therefore dG equals to dabba G upon dabba T. So in this case we are going to change the temperature while the other variables will be kept constant. So change in molar free energy dabba G upon dabba T, temperature is changed, so derivative of the temperature is given. So change in temperature into what is constant now, pressure, and the moles N1, N2 etc. are constant, into dt, plus now if we change the pressure, already we have changed the temperature here, so for change in pressure we can write dabba G upon dabba P into now temperature, and the moles of the substances are constant, that is T N1 N2 into dP, plus now we can change the concentration. Third property is the concentration. For the first substance it is moles N1, so dabba G upon dabba N1. If it is changed, then other variables are kept constant, that is temperature, pressure, N2, N3, so on, into dNi. Accordingly also we can change the moles of the second substance, plus dabba G upon dabba N2, Tp N1, N3, so on, dN2, plus we can write plus dash 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 into dabba G upon dabba nth substance, so which is the last substance in the system. So nth substance, for nth substance we can write change in this nth substance concentration dabba G upon dabba Ni, keeping constant pressure, temperature N1, N2 and so on up to nth, into dN. So this becomes the overall equation derivation for the change in free energy. Now we can write some terms, short terms for the, or we can write the give the another symbol for the corresponding change in the free energy. Now let us consider change in the free energy with respect to first substance at the constant temperature and pressure and constant of other substances. It is, if we write for this as G1 bar, if we write change in the moles of the N2 substance, second substance is the G2 bar, and accordingly we can write the change in the concentration of the ith substance equals to Gi bar. So now this equation becomes, we can substitute these values G1 bar, G2 bar and Gi bar in this equation. What we are getting, so this is for Ni term, this is for N2 and this is for nth G1 bar. Now this equation becomes dG equals to dabba G upon dabba T into pressure, is constant, N1 N2 is constant into dt, dabba g upon dabba p, T temperature is constant, N1 N2 into dp, plus now the value of dabba g upon dabba N1 at constant pressure and temperature is the G1 bar. So we are substituting here G1 bar dN plus G2 bar for N2 and Gi bar for then Nth substance. So overall for this equation we can write dabba g upon dabba nth substance, ith substance, or for every substance in the system is equals to G bar I. So from this equation we can say that the molar free energy for the each substance in the system, it is found to be same even though different types of the substances are present. So the molar free energy or total molar free energy or change in the molar free energy, it is found that it is same for the each component which is present in the system. So this is the conclusion for this derivation. So this is all about the derivation of the molar free energy. Thank you for watching video.